Hello. In this lecture, let's explore strings and variables. We'll also follow up on the last video, where it was mentioned that floor division can be helpful around a certain feature with strings. Okay, to start things off, make sure you have a Python 3 interpreter activated by running Python 3 in your command line. Here's an example of a string. So use single quotes and type in hello. This creates a string in Python, and as you can see, a string is essentially a list of characters that have been joined together. To create a string, you can either use single quotes like above or double quotes. So have double quotes to create the string hello. As the interpreter shows, it produces the same string result with single quotes. The main difference with using single quotes or double quotes is that a single quoted string can include double quotes within the string itself. So for example, you can have the phrase I said and then double quotes hello, but then the whole string itself is wrapped within single quotes. And likewise, a double quote quotes. So have double quotes and have a phrase like I'm programming. Okay. If you were to use a single quote within a single quoted string, well, you'd accidentally complete the string too early and get an error. For example, I'm programming, but again, the string is created already with I, so there's going to be an error around this M being a random character within our code. So if you enter this, well, the interpreter prints a message about the syntax being invalid. It's even pointing to that M since it doesn't appear, or rather understand, this random M that is appearing after the I string we created. You'll see strings all throughout the code that you find and write in the future. They're crucial because programs not only manipulate numbers, they manipulate words too. Okay, let's move on to the next fundamental element, variables. A variable in a programming language can be thought of as a unit of storage for another value. For example, we can use a variable named greeting to store the string hello. In Python, to create a variable, all you need is the name of the variable itself and then the assignment equal operator. Again, in this example, we've named the variable greeting. So if a variable is a unit of storage, this greeting variable is then holding the string hello. We can get the interpreter to print the value of this variable by directly entering it. So type in greeting, press enter, and then greeting is holding that string value of hello. Since it's holding that value, we can use the variable as a stand-in for that string in whatever functionality that we need. For example, we can do a string concatenation using the greeting variable and another string. Term for joining words together. And in Python, you can accomplish a string concatenation of a variable and a string using the plus operator. So let's combine the greeting variable plus a string that has a space to start and then your name. So how about space and then David or whatever your name is, and then it says hello David. Very nice. Okay, next in this exploration of strings and variables, let's look at the way you can create substrings in Python. A substring is a slice of an original string that creates an entirely new string out of the sliced chunk. The syntax to create this substring slice is a pair of brackets after a string. So have greeting and then a pair of brackets after the string, rather the greeting variable for the string hello. You only need one number to create a substring. For example, to get a substring of the greeting variable which contains the string hello, we can use the number 1 in brackets. This is going to get the first character, which prints E, which might be a little confusing. Shouldn't the first character be an H for the string hello? Well, Python, like the majority of programming languages, is actually 0 indexed. Meaning when it comes to sequences, like the characters of a string, the index, or in other words, the position of the very first item in the sequence is represented with a 0. So if you want to get that H value, well, instead of using the number 1, use the number 0. Now here's where integers are required over floats. Try using a float within this bracket syntax. So how about greeting of 1.5? And here we get an error that says the string indices, well, all of them must be integers. Indices is the plural form of index. So it's telling us that we can't use something other than an integer to try and access an item in a sequence. This is where floor division can be useful. If you need to dynamically calculate the index of an item you want to access, well, floor division will make sure you always get a valid integer for that index. Now, the bracket syntax for strings helps out with even more. It can create entire substrings of more than one character. To create a longer substring, provide a second number in the bracket syntax. So how about greeting from 0 up to the number 3, and for the up to part, make sure to have a colon. So greeting from 0 to 3. And you should find HEL as a response, since those are the characters from indices 0 and up to, but not including 3. We can have an even higher starting point and ending point. For example, a substring of greeting from 1 to 5. And this syntax is actually pretty safe to use, even when you use weird numbers. For example, you can specify an ending point way beyond the number of characters in the string. So how about from 1 to 99, and well, it still gets the same result of hello. It acts as if you wanted to go up to the string's limit anyway. So even though there's only 5 characters in the greeting variable string, if we specify an ending value that is higher than the string length, well, it's as if we wanted to go up to the string's length regardless. In fact, to avoid the trouble of even specifying an ending number, you can provide only the starting number as well as a colon. And there we go, we get the whole substring from 1 to whatever is the final index in the string. A similar functionality is provided when you don't have a starting number. So for example, we can have a colon as well as the number 3, and it's as if you used 0 as your starting character. You can do really cool things with a syntax like indexing backward using negative numbers. For example, to get the last character in the string, you can use a -1. Alright, that takes care of strings and substrings in Python. The fact that there's so many ways to create substrings with such a simple syntax is a reflection of the overall Python language. As you use Python more and more, I believe your admiration for the language will grow as you see its ability to produce a lot of diverse functionality with a short amount of code. That wraps up an exploration of strings and variables. So, for the next fundamental concept in Python programming, let's take a look at functions.